Hi everyone, this is just a quick tip video on how to use my ScanNCut cutting files that you get from my website, which is here on screen, applelover53.co.uk. If there are several designs on a mat or if there's more than one mat in the design. Now, a few months ago, somebody contacted me who was brand new to the ScanNCut. She'd purchased a cutting file from my website and it was one of the cutting files that was over several mats and she was unsure how to deal with it. Now, I do have a video on my channel showing you how to download the files from my cutting file shop, and I will put an information card at the end of this video. But I've made this project recently and I've not done a video for it yet, but it is in the cutting files shop on my website, and the design is on 2 mats. So I thought it would be an ideal opportunity to show you the project and also show how to deal with items that are on 2 mats. Now, I was able to communicate with the purchaser months ago and help her sort her issue out, and that was all dealt with and she was fine with that. But as I say, I've made this project recently. It is over 2 mats, so I just thought it'd be an ideal opportunity to just recap. So I'll show you the project first, then I'll show you it on the ScanNCut machine. So this is a little box that holds some gift cards. Now, this box is all cut in one piece and it's really easy to assemble. You just fold up on these 2 score lines, there's 2 score lines here, and you just apply a tiny little bit of glue on the inside and that's your folder. So when you get this cutting file, one mat has this outer card folder, and it has a matting layer for the front and a matting layer for the side. And obviously you can cut the one on the front twice if you want to do the back as well. Now, I didn't cut the matting layers. I've used a scallop shape that is in all the ScanNCut machines as far as I'm aware. It's in the basic shapes and I cut this at 4 inches. So that's what I've used on the front of this one. So mat 1, just to recap, has the outer folder and then it will have the plain square and rectangle matting pieces. Mat 2 has 2 cards which are 8 by 4 and they're pre-scored for you down the middle, and one of them says thank you and one of them says just for you. Now, you don't need to draw the words if you don't want to. Just tell the machine to cut and it will cut the card shapes and put the dash lines in for you. But if you want the greetings on as well, just load a pen into your machine, tell it to draw, and it will draw out the 2 greetings. So I cut this twice to give me 4 cards. Again, the matting layer on here, I'm not sure how well you'll see it, is the same scallop shape that's in the machine, but this time I cut it at 3 by 3 and then I put some images on the front. So I've got 4 cards, 2 each that say thank you, 2 each that say just for you. So the 2 cards are on the second mat, and also on the second mat is the envelope. So there's 1 envelope. So for this, I cut this 4 times, and I've just cut this in white paper, and you'll see that the cards fit inside the envelope. So one mat has, as I say, the outer box and matting layers, and the other mat has 1 each of the cards just for you and thank you, and 1 envelope. So if we go over to the ScanNCut machine, I'll just put all those back. And as I say, I've only done 4 and there's lots of room in here. You could probably get another 4 if you didn't have, none of these are layered up, they're all stuck flat. So I would say 4 or 6 comfortably if there's a little bit of layering, or if they're all completely flat like I've made, you can see the gap there. You'll easily get probably another 4 in. So I just think it's a nice gift. It doesn't need fastening with Velcro or magnets or ribbon. It will hold itself closed, but you can, before you say maybe put your matting layer on, put a piece of ribbon around, you could tie it with a ribbon. So that's a cutting file that's available here on my Apple Lover 53 website in the ScanNCut cutting files shop. And now I'm going to take you over to the ScanNCut machine and show you how you deal with it when you've got more than one element on a mat. So we're over at the ScanNCut machine. Now I've put the file onto a USB stick, and the reason it's in a folder is to be able to upload digital products for customers to download. They have to be zipped. So normally if there's only one mat involved, I'll just name the project, zip the file, and you just download that one file. If there's more than one mat involved, then I put them in a folder. So when you download this will be in a folder, and I think it's called gift card set, something like that. I can't remember. I think I've renamed mine on the USB stick. So you download your folder. If you're on Windows, you extract it. If you're on a Mac, you just double click on it and it automatically unzips. And in that folder, you'll find the two mats. So I think mat 1 says outer holder and matting layers, and mat 2 says envelope and cards, which hopefully we'll see in a minute. So I'm going to go to retrieve data. I'm going to go USB stick because that's where my folder is. And here's my folder. And then inside the folder, you can see it says 4x4 card holder and 4x4 cards and E, which is envelope. So we'll go to the card holder first, and I'll select that and pop it on the mat. So once it's on the mat, you can clearly see it, and I'm going to say OK. Now, if you want to save it into your machine, you can save it into your machine, and then you know you've got it saved in a couple of places. It's entirely up to you. But you'll see here, hopefully, this section at the top is the outer holder, and then down here you've got the two matting layers. To cut the outer holder first and then do your matting layers separately, all you need to do is select one of the two items here that you're not going to cut. Say edit, select the rubbish bin, say OK, then select the next one, select the rubbish bin and say OK. So now you're just left with the outer folder. You just load your mat with your piece of card, cut that, and you're good to go. To retrieve it, you would just go back to the home button, you'd go back to retrieve, back to your USB stick, go back to the folder, call up the outer holder, say OK to place everything on your mat, and then this time you would select the outer holder and say edit and send to the bin and say OK, and you're left then with the two matting layers that you can cut in pattern paper or other cardstock, whatever you want to do. And it's exactly the same for the envelope and the cards. So if we go to the home button, say yes, it's OK to delete all patterns. I'm not deleting the patterns, I'm just deleting them from this session, if you like, because they're still on my USB stick. I'm going to go retrieve data, USB stick, back to the design, select the card and envelope. So this time you should be able to see there's a card here. Let's say OK and put it on the mat. So there's a card here which I've put on vertical just to try and get it on the mat a bit easier. That one says just for you. The one down here says thank you, and there's the envelope. So if I want to cut the two cards from, say, a piece of UK A4, I would select the envelope, say edit, send it to the bin and say OK. Then I would select this card, go to Object Edit, rotate it 90 degrees and say OK. And then I've got two cards here which I could line up underneath each other and, position a piece of A4 cardstock on the mat. I'll say OK, 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 and I'll go to select. Now, if you don't want to have the machine draw the greeting, as I said, just press cut, and all as you will see are the two card outlines with the dash line. Okay, I'll just go back. If you want to have the machine draw the greetings for you so you can recreate the set as I have done, this time say OK, select and draw. And because I've assigned the words when I made this file as a draw and a cut, the two words show up. Now I would always do my drawing first and then my cutting second. So I would load my machine now with a pen holder, put a pen in it. This font, by the way, is a font that I've used in a recent project that I did a video for. So again, I'll do a blog post to accompany this video, and I'll link to this font again for you if you want to get it. So again, you would just say draw, set the machine off to draw. Once it's finished, it would say finish, and then you would just go to cut and cut the cards. And that's as simple as it is, to be honest. That's all you have to do. And you would do that with anybody's cutting file. So if you buy a cutting file off anybody else and there's lots of elements on your mat that you know that are maybe overlapping and you can't cut all at the same time, then this is how you deal with it. Some of my designs have a couple of elements, but they fit on a mat comfortably. So if they're on one mat and they all fit on, you can cut them all at the same time. Obviously, the beauty of having a ScanNCut is that we can do the background scan, and we can put on our mat different pieces of cardstock or paper and cut all at once. But in this particular instance, like this, if I just, you know, go back again, retrieve data from the USB stick, and just choose one of the files again, I'll choose the card and envelope, you can clearly see that these two cards overlap, so I wouldn't be able to get those from a piece of 12 by 12 card or paper and cut the envelope at the same time. So that's it. So as I say, I was able to help the customer, you know, several months ago with the query at the time, but as this project is one that I've just made and I've not made a video for it, but it is over a couple of mats, it kind of seemed like an ideal opportunity just to, you know, revisit the query, if you like. But like I say, I have done a previous video on how to download cutting files from my website, so I will link to that at the end of this video now. Hopefully you can go and watch that if you're new, and that might have other tips in it. I can't remember exactly what I covered in that video, but if you watch that one as well and you watch this one, you should be more than covered with working out how to deal with designs that are, you know, either lots of designs on one mat that you know you clearly can't cut at once, or designs that are spread over several mats. So please give the video a thumbs up if it helped you. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you.